Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics.
On Monday, August 14th, we commemorate the Forefeast of the Dormition of our Most Holy Lady, the Theotokos and Ever Virgin Mary, as well as the Holy Prophet Michaias, Micah, the Holy Hieromartyr Marcellus, Bishop of Apameia, the Holy New Martyr Symeon of Trapezoundos. The hymns for the Forefeast of the Dormition of our Most Holy Lady, the Theotokos and Ever Virgin Mary. In faith, O you people, leap for joy while clapping your hands, and gather in gladness on this day with longing, and shout in radiant jubilance. For the Theotokos cometh nigh to departing from the earth unto the heights, and we glorify her with glory as the Mother of God in our unceasing hymns. In the immaterial spirit the whole world has been mystically adorned upon the glorious memory, and it doth cry to thee, rejoice, joyously, rejoice, O Virgin, thou boast of the Christian race. During this period, as we have been gathering up to the Dormition, we have been celebrating the Theotokos through Paraclesis services, asking her intercessions for all who are in need. Regarding Saint Micah the prophet, this prophet, whose name means "who is like God," was a Martyr in the land of Judah. He prophesied more than 50 years in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. These kings reigned in the 8th century before Christ. From this, it is clear that this Michaias is not the one who was the son of Liemba from Kings 22:8, who censured Ahab and was murdered by Ahab's son Joram. As in Exodus he says, for this Joram reigned in the 9th century before Christ. Yet Michaias was still prophesying, as mentioned above, in the days of Hezekiah, who was a contemporary of Hosea and Isaiah, and of Hoshea, the last king of the 10 tribes of Israel, when the kingdom was destroyed by Salmanasar, king of the Assyrians. This Michaias is 6th in rank among the minor prophets. His book of prophecy is divided into 7 chapters. He prophesies that the Christ would be born in Bethlehem. In the reign of Saint Theodosius the Great, the holy relics of the prophets Michaias and Abacum were found through a divine revelation to Lebanus, bishop of Erythropolis. As we celebrate the memory of your prophet Michaias, O Lord, through him we beseech you to save our souls. With the Holy Spirit's beams wast thou enlightened, setting forth in prophecy the condescension of Christ God. O blessed Michaias, and by his grace we who revere thee are saved from eternal death. The readings are according to the week. From St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. Brethren, my joy is the joy of you all. For I wrote you out of much affliction and anguish of heart, with many tears, not to cause you pain, but to let you know the abundant love that I have for you. But if anyone has caused pain, he has caused it not to me, but in some measure, not to put it too severely, to you all. For such a one, this punishment by the majority is enough. So you should rather turn to forgive and comfort him, for he may be overwhelmed by excessive sorrow, meaning that someone in their midst has caused great harm, has caused destruction within the community, and has slandered against St. Paul. And St. Paul is saying that this person, in trying to do harm to St. Paul, really didn't do much harm to Paul as much as he did to the community. And he has already been punished. And so rather, it is important to forgive this person and comfort this person, lest that person be overwhelmed by sorrow and guilt. So I beg of you to reaffirm your love for him. For this is why I wrote, that I might test you and know whether you are obedient in everything. Anyone of whom you forgive, I also forgive. What I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, has been for your sake in the presence of Christ, to keep Satan from gaining the advantage over us, for we are not ignorant of his designs. Because the devil seeks to cause divisions within the church. When I came to Troas to preach the gospel of Christ, a door was opened for me in the Lord, but my mind could not rest, because I did not find my brother Titus there. So I took leave of them and went to Macedonia. But thanks be to God, who in Christ always leads us in triumph, and through us spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of him everywhere. For we are the aroma of Christ to God among those who are being saved, and among those who are perishing. In other words, when we are, the sweet smell of our prayers are around us, we are saving those who are perishing. We are hope for them that are without hope. From the Gospel according to St. Matthew, the Lord said to the Jews who had come to him, Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense you make long prayers. Therefore you will receive the greater condemnation. So in other words, leaders of the church, especially clergy, when we do long prayers or do things to make it seem that we're doing things when we're actually doing nothing, it'll be a greater condemnation on us. For we are devouring widows' houses, and other people trusted in us, and then we devoured their livelihood. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Now again, this is oral. So this is meant to be emphatic. It is meant to really hit. That he's saying to the scribes and the Pharisees that they are hypocrites. For you traverse sea and land to make a single proselyte. A proselyte is someone that is going to become a Jew. And when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it's nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools. For which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by his oath. You blind men. Which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? So he who swears by the altar swears by it, by everything on it. And he who swears by the temple swears by it, and by him who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God, and him who sits upon it. In other words, we must recognize what is truly important in our life. Not the tapestries of religiosity, but the true spirit behind it. And to not fall prey to these elite cliques that are trying to be made. And so this is important because the blindness of these guides of basically trying to say, well, our institutions are what is sacred, and our institutions are only matter if you give us the gold, if you give us the gift. When the reality is the institutions themselves are supposed to be sacred. The temple is supposed to be sacred. The altar is supposed to be sacred. And so we lose sight of what is truly spiritual and what is real.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's Spiritual Calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.